Welcome to the Heavy Spoilers Show. I'm your host Paul, and this video we're breaking down Fallout. It's all over but the crying people. Season 2 is done and dusted, but it throws up far more questions than answers. Episode 8 ends with a lot of things in the air, and there's lots of things that are teased for Season 3. We will discuss where we think Season 3 will be going in a bit, but first, just to add some context, let's break down that ending. Now, we close out with the NCR saving Freeside from the Deathclaws, but there's more bad things coming. It's also game over for Hank. His memories are wiped, and this comes after he activates the brain control interface device. He's got one placed in his neck, and it's also been successfully miniaturized, so you'll have no idea who's been pacified unless you notice a small scar on the back of their neck. We also learn that in the past he got married to Steph in Vegas, woo, and this is how she ended up in the vault. Hank's also revealed to be one of the Enclave's acolytes, and the pair clearly have both been working for the group. Trapped in her office, she uses the Enclave's Pip-Boy to initiate Phase 2, which we know somehow involves the FEV. Oof. Maximus and Lucy are also reunited as well and watch over the arrival of the guys who think about the Roman Empire far too much. Meanwhile, Coop finds Bob and Janie's empty pods with a postcard hinting at a move to Colorado. As we learn, Coop was also arrested due to un-American activities, and he likely divorced Bob to get the feds off her back. Now, despite carrying Mr. House with him via Pip-Boy to the management vault, Coop drops him, and I think that he might appear in one of two ways. Firstly, a character can pick him up, with this maybe being the recently blank slated Hank. It's also likely he'll interact with Lucy and Maximus as he flashes on screen at the Lucky 38. Maybe he'll even combine the two, and we'll have both sides working with a version of House. As for Norm as well, Norm's just watched everyone from Vault 31 die and is carrying Claudia on a sledge. Oh yeah, and Quintus is also planning to unleash Liberty Prime from Fallout 3 and 4. Season 3 is going to need to cover a lot of ground with all these spinning plates, and yeah, I can't wait to see what happens, which we will theorize about now.
And I heard a voice within me.
Now, the biggest question moving forward is how or why Barbara Howard's in Colorado. Coop failed to find his wife and daughter, but he did come across a postcard clearly left for him about it being a good idea. He originally wanted to move to Bakersfield, but fans will know that this is the location of the necropolis. And maybe that's how Coop became a ghoul. But yeah, Season 2 ends with Coop heading out to Colorado with his faithful companion Dogmeat. Colorado was featured in Fallout Tactics, and this was a game that saw the Midwestern Brotherhood of Steel on a crusade to find Vault Zero. This was the nucleus vault that controlled all the vaults across America. It was run by a computer powered by organic matter, simply known as the Calculator. This devilish fiend created a robot army to wipe out the Midwest, which we could see in the show. Now, this is kind of similar to how the Enclave wanted to wipe out the surface using the FEV. In case you don't know, the FEV is the forced evolutionary virus, which basically turns people into mutants. Doesn't do this if you're free from radiation though, so I do think it'll get applied to the vaults. But more on that later. Now, in the aforementioned game, there were several choices you can make at the end, and you can either destroy the calculator or sacrifice your brain to power it. The show has strayed away from deciding upon canon endings, and I feel like the writers may use the ideas of Fallout Tactics in the plot for the Enclave. We also finally saw the outside of their building from Season 1, and it looks like it's located in the Colorado Rockies, especially as the billboard advertising the Rockies is seen at the end of Season 2. But yeah, Cooper is heading there, but what will he find? Well, we know his life was ruined after handing over the cold fusion diode to the president, and he was labeled as a pinko. Because of the casting of Clancy Brown as well, I also feel like this president might still be alive, and Coop will be out for revenge. As we've seen, characters can be frozen, and potentially he's been placed in hibernation. And you don't just get Clancy Brown for a scene like this, you get him to use him in Season 3. Now, beyond that, there was also a theory left on our video about what could have happened to Janie. Shoutouts to Foreign Mogul on our Episode 1 breakdown for talking about a great theory involving her. Now, we are all assuming that she's still a little kid, but that might not be the case. For all we know, she could have been unthawed decades ago, and Bob may also be an old woman. I think we could have a devastating scene where Coop's reunited with his wife, only to see that she's elderly and they've now lost their lives together. Kind of like Steve seeing Peggy in Winter Soldier. We could have a heartbreaking scene where they're finally united and she's just so shocked that he's finally come back. And Coop says he couldn't forget about his best girl. Interstellar, of course, also had a character named Coop who got reunited with someone he loved when they were much older, having spent his whole life trying to get back to them. So yeah, just putting it out there, and who directed that? Nolan! And who's behind this show? A fucking Nolan as well. So yeah, though that might not happen, I think it would be great if they kind of did that, and it would be another tragic aspect of Coop's life. Because of this as well, and the whole thing with time, I think it would be an insane reveal if Janie was also grown up now as well, and was a high-ranking member of the Enclave. If they've gone in this place in the Rocky, then it makes sense that they would have found or made her work to keep her place. Now, this does make a lot of sense if we look at Fallout as well, as the protagonists have followed the stories of other Fallout characters. Vault 33 has water purification issues, which is similar to those in Vault 1. Lucy also went looking for her father, akin to Fallout 3, and Coop was looking for his daughter, just like how you look for your son in Fallout 4. Fallout 4 spoilers incoming as well, so if you don't want to know, skip ahead. Just keep tapping the screen and quick flick ahead. But yeah, there you learn that your son actually grew up in the time between when he was kidnapped from your vault and when you woke up. He became the head of the Institute, and it was quite a shock when you discovered the faction had used his DNA to create the perfect synths. So I expect we could get a similar kind of horrifying story here with Janie being high up in the Enclave, especially with how the series seems to be inspired by certain aspects of the game. This video is sponsored by ZocDoc, your new healthcare superpower. Now this isn't for people in the wasteland, but rather our viewers in America. Viva New Vegas! Bringing yourself back online like Mr. House is very tough if you're not feeling your best, but that's where ZocDoc comes in. ZocDoc's a free, game-changing healthcare platform that connects you with top-rated, in-network doctors in your area. With winter being here in full effect, chances are you have had a bit of a cold, the flu, or something that's just knocked you back. I had sinusitis, which was lovely. Also, I'm guessing that, like me, you might not have gone to the doctors. Often, you're not too bothered so much about the doctors themselves, but more the inconvenience like the phone calls and long wait for an appointment. But ZocDoc stops all that. All you have to do is open ZocDoc, type what you need, and this will instantly bring up appointments in your area. You can read reviews, view the open slots straight away, and book one that works for you with a real doctor in your area. There's no long phone calls, none of that hold music, just click, boom, you are done. Whether it's mental care, dental care, eye care, or skin care, ZocDoc's got you covered. ZocDoc offers access to over 100,000 healthcare providers across nearly every specialty, showing real-time appointment availability so you can pick a time that fits your schedule. Most appointments also happen within 24 to 72 hours, and same-day visits are often available. So don't delay those doctor visits. Head to my link in the description at zocdoc.com/heavyspoilers. There you can find and book a top-rated doctor today across various specialities. Visit zocdoc.com/heavyspoilers to explore their free revolutionary platform and find the perfect doctor for you. Thanks. Now, speaking of the Enclave, the Institute, and the Synths, I mentioned in our finale breakdown that the brain control device reminds me a lot of Fallout 4. Their synths replace people, and due to Nolan's past involving Westworld, I think we might be getting the same thing here. Hank has mentioned that he sent agents out around the wasteland with secret boxes put in their neck. They're all following orders from before the war, which are no doubt given by the Enclave. Again, it just kind of builds off what Nolan did with Westworld, and you never really knew who was a robot and who wasn't. He never got to finish up that story as well, and I expect in Season 3 that we may see characters that we've seen acting totally different than how we saw them last time. This is just going to drive a lot of suspicion in Lucy, and it also means that any character they come across could be a sleeper agent for the group, and they might not even know they're being controlled. However, once their device tells them what to do, they instantly become an enemy. The NCR and Legion could also be infiltrated as well, which is similar to Fallout 4. Hank himself said there's no way to reverse what happened, and I am interested to see what's going to come down the line. As I touched upon earlier as well, I could see something where he comes across House and basically takes him completely at his word. The guy is just very naive at this point, and House would be able to manipulate someone like him quite easily and just make him become one of his puppets. Now if that doesn't happen, we could also get Lucy refusing to leave her dad in the war zone that's about to become Vegas. Seeing a nice version of Hank tagging along I think would also be hilarious. Kyle MacLachlan has an amazing range in acting, so it is something that I'd love to see. Especially when Max finds out it was Hank who nuked Shady Sands. But look at him now, he's just like a lost little puppy. Now beyond that, the Enclave also have a plan, at least involving Steph activating Phase 2. What is Phase 2 though? Well, Ronnie called it the Future Enterprise Ventures, and fans instantly worked out that this is the FEV from the games. Bud wanted to create a breeding program of super managers, and these people will inherit the Earth. As we know, different factions use the FEV to create super mutants, and I can see that playing a big part in Season 3. Now, the forced evolutionary virus was taken over by the US government after it was spun out from West Tech's research into a cure for the new plague. So with poor old Chet and the rest of Vault 32 writing, just like the previous inhabitants, Steph has basically asked the Enclave to enact Phase 2. Now, this actually goes hand in hand with the Colorado reveal. In case you don't know, there was a cancelled Fallout 3 before Bethesda bought the rights. Codename Van Buren, the play character would wake up in a prison.
Finally awake.
In that we learn that a mad scientist wanted to use the plague to trigger a space station with nukes to cleanse America, which would have been one of the main plots. However, the game was cancelled and Bethesda then created its own Fallout 3 from scratch. Things like the Legion and the Hoover Dam were then carried across to New Vegas. So they could pick up the scraps from that, just kind of piece it together and be like, look, they didn't get to make it, we're fucking making it now and taking all the credit like me when I steal fan theories from that guy I mentioned before. Fuck you. And there is also another idea beyond that as well. Vault 13 fell victim to the Enclave in Fallout 2 and the group opened the vaults and killed some of its inhabitants. The survivors were then captured by the Enclave to be used as test subjects. The Enclave then used the FEV on them as part of their plan to modify it and send it airborne. So with that, I even wonder if it's not necessarily a case of the Enclave pressing the big FEV release button, but their goons going to the vaults and basically taking all the people out of it. Now, one major unresolved plot point is the fact that there's a super mutant war coming. In Season 1, we saw a super mutant's hand in the Enclave, and the Ron Perlman cameo confirmed that the Enclave created them. They've been hunted to near extinction, and this explains why we haven't seen them in the series that much. I do think that though, they'll return in some form or another, and possibly even get Coop to help them in their war. Coop said how you always get distracted by something in the wasteland, which was a funny nod to the numerous side quests in the game. And I do feel like one of these side quests is going to be joining them before fighting Bob. Coop was a veteran who served in the war and thought that the US government were the best people to have cold fusion. Nolan, of course, also loves to have mirrored storylines, so now his story would be flipped and he might be fighting against the remnants of the government. Would nicely play off his time as a soldier as well, and I think would be a great way to take things. Anyway, that takes us to our next point, and now that the ghoul's heading to Colorado, what are the newly reunited Lucy and Maximus going to do? Well, it looks bleak, it looks fucking bleak, as the NCR and Legion will be involved in a bloody war once again. The showrunners have teased that the pair are heading to a new destination though, so we may not exactly stick around and watch the war play out. If you stuck around for the credits as well, then you'll have no doubt seen the visualization of the turf war. The NCR occupied one part of New Vegas while the Legion had taken the other. So I think Season 3 might start off with the groups, but likely lead to something else. Personally as well, I would like a Season 3 that takes place in a location that's unexplored by the games. Now, if you stuck around past those credits, then you'll of course seen the post-credits scene. Quintus has got his hands on the blueprints of Liberty Prime Alpha, and I have to wonder if he'll either build it or find the Alpha deactivated. It's quite a task to build a super weapon akin to the Manhattan Project in scale pre-war, although it has been achieved before. I think though they'll probably just skip that though and basically unearth it and be like, yeah, it's all done for us, we can just move on past that plot point that everyone assumes is gonna happen anyway. Now in Fallout 3, it's powered up by the Brotherhood to be used as a weapon against the Enclave, and it's also fixed up in Fallout 4. So just find it, mate. Considering that the events of those games also take place before this show, Quintus would know or either have been present when Liberty Prime was turned on. They will need a way to power it though, and I expect that Quintus might head to the Lucky 38 to retrieve the cold fusion diode, and this could throw him into conflict with House. If Maximus leaves any trace as well, then he'll likely be hot on the heels of the guy who betrayed them. Due to Prime hunting communists too, I do wonder if Coop's Pinko status might be brought into things as well. It also raises the question of what the hell is going on with the Commonwealth. Xander said that back home they're up against it and the other chapters were scared of them. Considering that Quintus is now Quintus the Destroyer as well, he'll most likely want to fight against the biggest chapter, and that's why he needs Liberty Prime. If you played the games, then you'll know the Commonwealth also have a machine that sometimes patrols their HQ, so we might even get some robot-on-robot action, sexy. The budget needed for a Liberty Prime battle though would be absolutely fucking massive. It's an absolute behemoth, so I am a bit unsure whether they're going to do like robot-on-robot action, which is so sad for me. I don't know why I'm pushing the fucking message here that I love robots on robot action. I don't know where that's come from. Freud would have a fucking field day with that. I've never thought of that before, but it must be buried in there somewhere. And lastly, we have the pre-war timeline. Coop was arrested, and this explains why he was called a Pinko by the people at the party in Season 1. Taken in by the Un-American Activities Committee, they were a real group around the time of the Red Scare. The whole thing was basically a witch hunt that rounded up actors, musicians, people who didn't hit the thumbs up, and all of their lives were destroyed on the suspicion of being a communist. The sad thing as well is that he opposed the idea of joining the commies and fighting the status quo. However, I can totally see how you could look at cold fusion and see it as a communist idea that's giving free energy to everyone. So I do wonder if they're going to push that in the past, and we might even see the character on trial. But yeah, throughout the seasons, we've all kind of thought that Coop and Bob must have broken up on bad terms, but seeing this reveal, it's clear the divorce was just for her to save face. Coop saved his wife and stopped her being made an example of, but because of that, he's also going to have to take the fall. Now, the latter half of season 2 also revealed how the Enclave was coercing Bob, so I do wonder if she'll double down and work closer with them as a way to expose the shadowy group. I just expect that the timeline of Coop going to Colorado and discovering the Enclave will be Murd and Bob also uncovering more about the group. Journalists were also starting to see that something was up with the president, and I definitely think when we look at the past plot lines that this is something that season 3 will explore. But anyway, that's that for the video and all our major predictions for next time. And I guess I'll see you back in 2028 at the earliest, mate. But yeah, thanks for all your support on the series. Make sure you stay alive until then. Don't do anything daft, yeah? Keep liking the videos. I need my subscribers to stay alive. But yeah, please drop a comment with all your thoughts on the series, what you think will happen in season 3. And if you want to keep up to date with what we're doing, then make sure you check us out on Instagram at Heavy Spoilers. Did you know as well that members of the channel also get early access to videos like this each and every week, and it just costs 99 cents a month. Lots of early content, lots of breakdowns ahead of everyone else, stuff like American Psycho, In the Mouth of Madness, The Shining. You're getting all that shit for just 99 cents a month. If you want to go beyond that, we also have our merch store below at the video that's got lots of Fallout t-shirts and lots of major discounts as well. If not though, thank you for sticking through this video. I've been your host Paul, you've been the best, and I'll see you next time. Take care, peace out.